As we just heard there, Shailendra, the heavy lifting is being done by guys like you. So I want to understand that and link it to the other point about personalization. What's the experience been like in dealing with Indian startups and the general Indian ecosystem in terms of what you've been able to do, the kind of heavy lifting that you are doing, and more importantly, the needs that you're trying to fulfill given the current environment?
No, absolutely, absolutely, Shireen. That's a very, very pertinent point. And apart from some of the things you just heard from Shashank and Sanjeev on the benefits of the cloud, what we also offer is the Market Connect, where qualifying startups gain access to new customers, products, and marketing outlets. Uh, our Connect is a startup portal into a global network of mid-size and enterprise companies, industry analysts, venture firms, and product experts. And connections mean more opportunities to get noticed, attract prospects, and help close deals. With Market Connects, startups can land meetings with potential customers, engage with Oracle product teams, and engage with VC firms, and get featured in branded content and reach a global digital force. And similarly, companies like Tango, Soham. So basically, you need to have a complete ecosystem. On one side, of course, you have the cloud and the cloud credits and a very, very lucrative kind of deal. But at the same time, you need to have access to architects, access to product developers, product management, and then the complete marketplace. And that's how we have been able to develop a very, very sound startup ecosystem. And a lot of organizations, some of the names I just spoke about, are getting benefited.
Yes, I would imagine that they are. But Shashank, I want to understand from both you as well as Sanjeev, and let me start by getting Sanjeev in on this. We talked about the Market Connect that Shailendra just brought up. But Sanjeev, I want to understand from you. You've gone from like a single pin code now to having to deal with hundreds of pin codes as you address the large and complex market that is India. And from a tech perspective, I want to understand what were the tools that you used to optimize this experience, how you were able to basically get from one to hundreds. And at this point in time, as we get into a more challenging environment, when money is going to be a constraint, perhaps not so much for somebody like you at Misho, but in general, how will you leverage the power of technology to improve efficiency as well as curtail costs?
It's a good question, Shireen. These times, technology is the one you always fall back to bring in efficiency in the business. And cloud naturally is extremely cost efficient, which is you don't have to kind of invest upfront in the infrastructure. It's more pay as you go service, which then opens up the the room for innovation further. Once your app gains traction, it's easy to always scale it horizontally, vertically, just with few clicks. But even beyond that, it minimizes the risk, financial risk of being stuck with a particular technology. Because at some point in time, businesses will always want to kind of experiment with newer business lines, newer product features, newer tech stacks as well. But this is the time when you kind of revisit all of this and see which of these are really important for supporting the core of your business, which are fundamental to growing and sustaining your business. We have recently started partnership with Oracle through Oracle ERP. It's Fusion Cloud product that they have, which has helped us a lot in bringing in efficiencies in the entire vendor management. Our purchasing workflows have become optimized through this Oracle product. So I think there are n number of ways that you can deal with it, but first and foremost, you have to figure out what are the inefficiencies in the business and where can tech come in and bring in more optimizations.
Yeah, that's an important point that you make. It is about enhancing efficiency and also being able to keep costs in check. But Shashank, let me address the issue with you as well. This takes me back to a conversation that I was having with Vidit, Sanjeev's co-founder, and he said that as we look at the environment and the way that it's playing out today, founders will need to make choices between cutting down on discretionary and non-discretionary spend. Tech will fall in the non-discretionary bucket. So let me address that issue with you in terms of the kind of spending that you've been making on technology over the years, and more importantly, whether it's customer onboarding, it's security, it's cracking the whip on fraud. What has the experience been like in terms of the tools that you've been able to use, and more importantly, as you gather more scale, what will the future look like on that front?
Well, you're absolutely right that technology is not a discretionary spend, right? It falls in non-discretionary bucket, and and it's one of the levers through which the organization drives a lot of innovation, a lot of differentiation in product in the market, and as well as a lot of efficiency, at scale and over time, right? We have developed a lot of innovative solutions leveraging machine learning and AI, and a lot of which is are tools provided by cloud provider, like Oracle and others, and those help us stay ahead of this sort of a cat and mouse game, right? That how do you ensure that you know a random consumer comes online on a small merchant's website and is able to have trust on transacting digitally, on that merchant, right? So imagine in a more offline scenario, you go to a bazaar and then you have many physical shops there, and you are able to speak face to face and do a transaction there, right? And I think our focus now, leveraging technology, is how do we give more impetus to digital commerce and leverage the tools that we have built, leverage the new solutions that cloud providers are building, and providing it to us. And on top of those rails, like, we go to the market with a lot more confidence that India will be ready to move in that direction.
Well, speaking of confidence, Shashank, let me ask you, what are the targets that you've set for yourself in terms of growth? You talked about building out the digital ecosystem. We've already seen a significant sort of scale up as far as digital transactions are concerned, but specifically for Razor Pay, marrying what you have been able to do on the side of technology as well as with the market opportunity. What targets are you setting for yourself?
I think we have always worked with the vision: how can we help digitize financial transactions and digitize businesses in the country? And today we serve like few million businesses, but the potential that is out there when you look at the financial landscape, from payments to banking to credit to payroll. If you look at an entrepreneur, they need to perform a bunch of financial operations on the back end, just to manage their business and manage all the compliances that kind of come along with it, right?
Well, we've gone from IQ to EQ now to DQ. So, Sanjeev, let me ask you, what is going to be the DQ for Misho going forward?
I think for us, our goal is always to kind of enable each and every one in India to kind of develop the confidence and have trust in buying online. And for that, Misho has to make its e-commerce very simple, make it affordable, because this fundamentally changes lives for everyone. Because they can now buy products which they could never, because they never had access to that product in a local bazaar. So I think that is our eventual goal. But yeah, for this year, we want to reach 100 million monthly transacting users by this year end.
Okay, 100 million transacting users by the year end. Shailendra, I'm going to give you the final say in this cat and mouse game, as Shashank pointed out. What is the strategy going to be? Any recalibration on the Oracle side at this point in time to cater to the changes, to cater to the developments that we are seeing in the Indian market within the startup ecosystem specifically? And what will be driving DQ for you?
So we started this program, the startup program for us in 2016, and it was in the form of physical cohorts located in specific cities, mainly Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore at that time. And we used to have 2 batches of 6 startups every year. Today, we operate in every region with virtual offerings to support startups wherever they are. And Sanjeev and Shashank, they alluded to it. All these companies are born in the cloud. That means their choice of cloud provider is of utmost importance. In any technology partner, startups will look for value, performance, and security. And startups should be working with cloud providers that will allow them to scale without any kind of technology friction, so to say. We have seen our enrollment of startups grow 100% every year for the last few years. And some of the technology areas that are being focused on include cloud, uh, artificial intelligence, SaaS, big data, machine learning. So overall, I would say it's a very inspiring and exciting time to be working directly with some of the founders, and 2 of them we have on the show today. And we continuously test, learn, and look for ways to better support and resource these organizations.
Well, you said that what founders like Shashank and Sanjeev will be looking for is value, performance, and security from their cloud service providers. But that's exactly what customers will be asking of them. So that is what they expect Sanjeev and Shashank to deliver on as well. That's going to be the big promise to be made. But this is an exciting time. It's also a challenging time at this point in time. But those that will leverage the power of technology perhaps will emerge stronger and also deal with the dark clouds that are currently on the horizon in a far better way. But Shashank, Sanjeev, Shailendra, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on this special program. Thanks very much for your time, and we wish you all the very best of luck. Well, that's it then on this edition of the Cloud Quotient. We'll see you next time. Till then, from all of us here on the team, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.